So I just did a, I don't know, 20-minute Zoom thing here, and I forgot to press record. And it was good. It was so good. And it's gone, lost in the ethers. So first, yeah, I'm in a different location. This is my office area. This is the landing. I live on the top floor of a Victorian apartment. And let's see, back there, that is a little stool. The very first thing I ever painted. And yeah, it's kind of fun. My bookshelf with some of my books. And my infamous zebra rug down there at the other end. Let me fix the camera a bit. There's my don't stop sign and one of my many broken clocks that does not tell time. There's my 5-octave piano, which has to come up those narrow stairs. Let me get back here and get this back where it was. And this is my squeaky Victorian office chair. Yeah. And every time I move, it's going to squeak. So that's how that is. I just came off of a couple of intense sessions. I do EMDR weekly, and I have another session with a therapist in which we do emotional clearing, mind clearing, and trauma clearing. And during the holidays, they've all kind of been jam-packed in one day. So I'm fresh out of that. And yeah, as usual, it's intense. Intense. What I was talking about is all that I'm currently experiencing in some of my deep diving into shadow work. And I referenced this before, and sorry, y'all, I'm going to be referencing it a lot. I'm going to be foisting this upon everyone, so tune me out if you don't want to hear it anymore. But I am coming to believe that shadow work is truly the missing piece to not just only how to manifest all that we came here to manifest, but that it's absolutely crucial for self-actualization and healing and all the stuff that makes life worthwhile, all of it that makes it meaningful and purposeful. So I'm doing it, and it's not easy. And yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but it's important. It's valid and it's required work. So I've been taking it very seriously. Very seriously. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not a fan of the cult of positivity. By that, I mean the spiritual and sometimes psychological teachings that tell us that we need to elevate the positive, focus on the positive, and denigrate and suppress and deny the negative. But it's not true that what we ignore goes away. Energy doesn't evaporate. It shows up somewhere. And where it shows up is in the subconscious. And from there, as Carl Jung says, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule us, and we'll call it fate. And I'm a little tired of being a victim in my own life and self-sabotaging the things that I want to experience in my own life because of the shadow. So it's a result of our conditioning, of unresolved trauma, and of all of the things that we would shame ourselves for having. Think about that. I mean, we are individuated, autonomous manifestations of the divine, of the creator. So the creator, who wanted to experience everything, created a universe in which there is everything. It has polarities because it didn't want just the love and light, happy, fluffy stuff. It wants the everything. You wouldn't read a book or watch a movie that starts off with once upon a time, everything was wonderful, and then they lived happily ever after at the end. We wouldn't read that. We'd be bored silly. But we wanted to live it all out. We, as parts of the all in all, as parts of the creator, wanted to have it all. So the creator created this lush and lavish universe that exists because of polarity. So we have positivity and negativity, and we need both. It's not that one is good and one is bad. Those are labels. And as Rumi says, out beyond field of right doing and wrongdoing, beyond good, beyond bad, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Yeah? So we do need to recall that we came from the creator, that field, and that we worked our cosmic asses off to show up here in this lifetime to have this experience. So we have the contrast, the polarities of positivity and negativity, light and dark, yang and yin, masculine and feminine, pleasure and pain, excitement and fear. Yeah. And when we elevate the one, all those things I listed, while repressing the other, we are hemiplegic, we're half paralyzed, we're not living whole lives. So we came here for the fullness of the experience. And the shadow, the unconscious part of us, desires the very things that we consciously do not want. One of the axioms of existential kink, the book I keep foisting, the practice I'm doing, one of the axioms of that is that having is evidence of wanting. So if I have things in my life, if things are happening, there's a part of me that wants that. Now I know someone's going to object and say, what about the rapes and the murders and the war and the children being abused? Yeah, those things are happening. And no, they didn't ask for those things and they don't deserve them. And when we don't deal individually and each of us with the shadow realm, we end up projecting that out onto what becomes the unconscious collective. And that is running much of the show that we experience as our reality. Yeah. And we're each responsible for our contribution to that. Not at fault, not to blame, responsible. And the way we take on that responsibility is to do our own individuated work on our own shadow. We need to face it and embrace it so we can feel it and thus heal it. And there's no way to bypass that. There's no way around that. It doesn't work to elevate the positive only and suppress the negative, because it will find a way to be expressed, and usually not the way we consciously want. But once we examine that, once we bring the unconscious into the conscious, it will no longer rule us from the shadows, and then we're not at the mercy of it. We're not a victim of it. We are not meant to be victims of our own life or of the unconscious collective. We are meant to be manifestors of our own integrated, in alignment self with our subconscious and our conscious minds coming into alignment so that we can authentically create. We have a choice. So if any of this sounds intriguing to you, I invite you to do your own work. There are many, many tools that you could use for shadow work. I like this one. I like being able to allow myself to find the weird, wild, secretive, subversive pleasure that my subconscious takes in the things that I consciously do not want. Not being ashamed of that, shamelessly going after it, looking at it, bringing it into the light and going, ah, this is going on inside me. This is in operation. And I don't have to be at the mercy of it. I can now, having brought it into the light, consciously choose what I want to actually manifest. But if I don't do that, it is going to run me from the shadows. And I am going to feel like a victim of some kind of fate that I'm pretending I'm not orchestrating. It's pretty wild stuff. And it's actually, even though it's hard, it's actually fun and very rewarding. So if you're interested for yourself, you can Google Existential Kink. The author is Carolyn Elliott. You can get the audiobook or the hardback book. I got both. And there are lots and lots of practices that you can choose. Now, if this isn't for you, you know, don't do it. Don't look it up. But if you're a little bit intrigued, or if you're feeling even like a pretty strong aversion reaction, that could be your shadow's way of inviting you to do some exploration, because you might be ready to get in alignment with yourself and become the powerful creator manifester you came here to be. I know I'm ready. It's time. All right. I got to go off to my chiropractic appointment. It's a busy Monday where I get to put my intention to practice, because as I told my chiropractor on the last 2 times I went in, when he does adjustment on my psoas muscles, and they're called psoas for a reason, because it hurts when he adjusts them, but it's important because they get too tight from all the sitting. So when he does this adjustment and everything in me wants to recoil and resist from the pain, I warned him I'm going to start yelling, yes, 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 while it's happening, to allow it in and to take that pain and turn it into vicarious pleasure. Because why not? Just as an experiment, just to see if I can. All right, I'm off to experience my pain turned pleasure. And yeah, you can do the same thing with emotional pain. I'm doing it, so I know it can be done. See you next time.